Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. It's Agari from your favorite finance lady. So today I'll be talking about advantages and disadvantages of TSS 482 visa. So there are different type of work visa. They're like, let me just put it in this way. In summary, they're like basically three categories of work visa. We have the short stay visa, which is like a working holiday visa. We have the TSS visa, which is like a temporal visa, and we have the permanent visa. So the short stay visa is a working holiday visa, and most African countries are not entitled to this working holiday visa. Yeah, so most of the countries that are entitled to this visa are like the zone A countries, like the UK. If you have a UK passport, the Canada passport, and all those countries passports, you will be like, you can come and work in Australia on a working holiday visa. But as an African, Nigerian, Ghana, if you go check the website, like the Australian website, our country is not listed there, so you cannot actually apply for a working holiday visa. But you can get all this information on the website. So yeah, so that's it about the working holiday visa. Then the temporal visa, there are different type of temporal visa, different type of, it's called TSS, different type of temporal visa. 482 visa is like the major one I talk about. And we have the post-study visa, I think they call it visa 485. And there are some other visa types there. But when I say TSS 482, it's basically the temporal visa, like it's like one of the major temporal work visa, which that's the same visa I'm on. And we also have the permanent visa. So the permanent visa is actually for permanent residents. But yeah, so those are like three major ones. So today I'll be talking about the TSS 482, the temporal skill certificate visa. That's many of TSS 482 visa. So this visa, so let me just go straight into the video. I'll be listing just very few advantages and disadvantages. So the first advantage is, of course, the major advantage is you can live and work in Australia for like 3 to 5 years, depending on the conditions of the type of visa, right? So yeah, so the good thing is you live and work in Australia, and like that's the major thing. You want to come to Australia, you want to work and live in a very lovely country. So that's the major advantage of the visa. Another advantage of the visa is that you can also you can also come with your family. Your family, you can relocate with your family as well. Your family is also entitled to this visa. Your spouse can also work like unlimited work rights, which is amazing. So that's another advantage. Another advantage is that you can also buy a home. Yeah, you can get a house, you can buy a home in Australia. So you can actually, because there was a time we went to the bank to get one or two informations, and they were like, oh, are you on 482 visa? And we were like, yeah. They're like, oh, you can actually buy a house. So yeah, because they feel like as a temporal, work visa, you have like 3 to 5 years. So they believe, okay, you can actually buy a house. And if you want to live in Australia, you can still live because you have like 3 to 5 years, it's still a long time. So of course, if you want to buy a house, if you're looking at buying a house as the TSS 482 visa, of course you can buy a house. That's another advantage. Then another advantage is that this visa leads to permanent residence. Yeah. So I think the new law is that you have to be on the visa for 1 year. I'm not sure. Employer can sponsor you directly for the PR, which is another good advantage. Another advantage of this visa is that you can travel to and fro Australia within that period. So if you're giving like a 3 years visa, I can travel like to and fro Australia, like unlimited entry and exit within that period, which is also good. Then another thing about the visa is that there is no age limit. If you are older, if you are younger, anyone can apply for the visa as far as you get a job. Before you can apply for the visa, you need to get a job. You need to get an employer. I'm talking about the 482 visa itself. You need to get a job. You need to get an employer that will sponsor you. That's why it's called employer sponsor visa, 482 visa. So you need to get a job first. It's not something you can just apply. So I don't want to mislead people, yeah. So it's not something you can just apply like that. You need to get a job first, and that's how it works. So so there's no age limit. If you are 40 something, 50 something, as far as you're capable, you can work, of course, and you get a job, of course you can be on the visa. That's one beautiful thing about it. Unlike PR, like permanent resident visa, I think if you are above 45, you cannot apply. I don't know if there are other conditions, but I think that's what I know. You cannot apply for it. But for 482 visa, of course you can apply for the visa. Final thing is coming to Australia gives you the international experience, right? You're working in a foreign country, so that's one beautiful thing. You might just want to come work for 2 years and just leave the country. It's okay. You just have it gives you that international experience, which can help your CV if you're moving to another country. Then finally, You are also entitled to, I think it depends on the employer this time, you're entitled to relocation allowance. So most people that are on this 482 visa basically relocate with no cost. Like your employer basically pay for your flight, your other expenses, other relocation expenses and all of that. You basically get covered, because I got my employer paid me relocation, everything I spent. They paid like almost everything, so which is one good thing about being on visa. So it's basically coming to the country with no cost. Everything is settled, everything is all fine, they paid for everything. So like all these are like the basic advantage that's just the general advantage of 482 visa. Now let's go down to disadvantages. The first disadvantage of the visa is you must have a current or a running health insurance or health aid. So for your visa to continue running, or for your visa to be valid, you must always have a health insurance. And most of the time, some employer, like back home in Nigeria, my employer pay for my health insurance. It might not be the book, they might just pay for the basic health insurance. So if you want to get a higher cover, you can just add up to your money and get a higher cover, which makes sense. But here, employer does not pay. Okay, so they gave me like 5% discount. So they recommended the private health insurance. And they were like, if you're using this health insurance, you get 5% discount, which it's okay, but I feel it's not too good for me. So yeah, and we have to pay, because the basic health insurance we're not comfortable with. It doesn't cover some major things, so we have to like move to the next level, which we pay a lot of money every month. We pay around $500 and something every month for health insurance. So like I feel it's too much, but it is what it is. We need to always, it's because we choose to move higher anyways. If we are, I'm talking about family of 3, so if you're a single person, I think for the basic health insurance you can pay like $100, I think so, or lower. And it also depends on the company itself, and you can also pay as high as maybe 120. It depends, but no cost for alarm. I don't think it's that much. Unlike students, like when you're coming to the country, you pay for your health cover for like 2 years at a stretch, which I feel is cheaper. But when you're on a 482 visa, you pay your health insurance yourself, maybe monthly. Yeah, so that's what we pay, which I feel is a disadvantage. Another thing is you're not entitled to any government Medicare. You're not entitled to Medicare. You're on your own, because you're a temporary resident, so you're your own government. You are not entitled to the Medicare, the government health insurance, which is so sad. The next one is no subsidy on childcare. So I've always been mentioning this before. You're on your own when it comes to childcare. You don't get subsidy. They can charge you normal. Childcare can cost around, let's say, $130, $140 per day. But if you are a permanent resident and you have subsidy, you might be paying like $80, $70, which makes so much sense. But as a temporary resident, as a 482 visa holder, you pay the full amount. Government is not going to subsidize anything, which is to me, this is like the biggest disadvantage ever. Disadvantage of this visa is that you get taxed higher. I don't know. Before, back home in Nigeria, like I really don't care about how much you deduct from me from tax, because at the end of the day, my net after tax is making so much sense, and I'm not worried about being taxed, because I don't really tax. I've been taxed higher, right? I feel the tax system is still okay back home. But here, of course, a developed country, everything is taxed. Every single thing is taxed. Everything is taxed. There was a time I got paid, was it bonus? Or they paid one incentive like that at work. Guys, it's not like, I got a mail like, okay, you're going to be paid so amount of money. I was so excited about it. Like, oh, good, great. Only for the money to get into my account, and it was basically slashed. Like I got half of the money, and I'm like, where's the remaining half? And they're like, oh, it's been taxed. It's too much. Like it looks as if I'm basically working for the government. I feel it's because I'm on TSS 482 visa, because I feel as a permanent resident, you're definitely going to pay tax, but you're not going to pay that high tax. Like I feel it's too high. Sometimes I'm not excited about if I'm being paid any incentive or bonus, because when they tax it, the money is basically nothing. It does not make sense. So that's why I'm like, you know what, I'm not excited about anything. If I get a mail like, oh, you're going to be paid bonus or incentive or leave allowance or something like that, I'm not really freaked about it because the money is nothing at the end of the day. Like back home, when they want to pay like leave allowance or bonus, I'm always so excited, like because I know that that money will enter. When the money enters, it can pay rent, it can pay something huge. But coming here and seeing the money, and you're like, this money cannot even pay rent. Trust me, the money cannot even cannot really pay anything substantial like that. It's so painful. Like to me, I don't know. This is just my own personal experience. Everybody have their own experience, and it also depends on how much you earn anyway. So yeah, but to me, I'm not excited about anything, any bonus or anything, because the tax is too much. It's just too much, and I feel it's because of this type of visa. It's just sad. That thing, this is like an advantage and disadvantage at the same time. Immediately you get your 482 visa, you are to resume work after 3 months. Yeah, but yeah, that's like the criteria. So when you get your visa in January, you should resume work maybe in March. You have a limited time to prepare. So that's in about when you are planning on, like, immediately you get your job, just start packing and start preparing before your visa comes out. Like, yeah, that's how it works. For me, it was very fast. The time I got my visa, the day I got my visa, we traveled after 5 days, because I already know I'm going to, immediately I got the job, like I was already preparing and packing, and we're already selling some stuffs in the house, like back home in Nigeria, we're already selling some stuffs, we're already preparing, even when we did not get the visa yet, when we were still processing the visa, we're already preparing. And because my resumption date was, my employer gave me a very short notice, it wasn't that long. I really didn't have time to like prepare very well. So I was very fast. There was 1 or 2 delays in my medicals when we did medicals, because it took us time to book medicals back home. It took like 1 month to book medicals, and if your medicals is not if you've not submitted your medicals, your visa is going to take a while, because all your documents, your medicals and everything needs to be completed before your visa is granted. So that's one thing, like, that actually took us time. So but the good thing is that we started planning early. We started selling some of our stuffs, let me just say, early enough. And yeah, basically that's it, guys. Like, that's it. And immediately we got our visa. After 5 days we traveled, and everything was so fast. I got here and I was supposed to resume immediately, and I'm like, I can't. We came here in winter. We've not settled, we've not even gotten a house. Everything was just so fast. They're like, oh, you need to resume, that kind of stuff. And I just resumed. So the rush is there. You don't really have a lot of time to like settle in. Like for me, I actually didn't have a lot of time to like settle in. I just had to resume, and I still have the anxiety of, oh, I'm still like, I just flew 20 something hours. I'm in a new country in the midst of in winter. Yeah, just a lot of things up going on with me, but I still don't allow that to affect me. I resumed anyhow. I just resumed anyhow. But anyways, like, you don't have enough time for you to prepare to leave your home country to Australia. But it might be a disadvantage to people. To some people, it might also be advantage, because a lot of people want to be like, I can't wait to leave my own country. Let me start moving to Australia. So a lot of people might feel that 3 months is still enough time for them to prepare, to plan well. Everybody have their own stuff, but me, I'm gonna put this into a disadvantage, because it was a bit of a disadvantage for me, so it's gonna stay in the disadvantage category. The final one, the final and the biggest disadvantage of 482 visa is that your employer can terminate your employment. Trust me, just because they gave you a job, just because you moved all the way from your country to another country, does not mean they cannot terminate. They can terminate your employment at every given time. I have seen people, it has happened to them. I have seen a lot of people. I have heard stories. I know of somebody that they terminated their appointment. Some people work 3 months, it's the employer time, they'll be like, oh no, you don't have the right skills, oh, we thought you're good, you're not good enough. Just a lot of things can happen. An employer can terminate your visa. But the good thing about the 482 visa is, once your employer terminates your employment, you have 2 months to get a similar job. So if you come in as for example, as an accountant, and you worked in your company and your employer is not feeling you, and you lose your job, you have 2 months to get another accounting job. It has to be a similar field, because if you look at your visa is granted based on your particular category, your particular profession. You cannot get for your 482 visa. If your 482 visa is for accounting job and you lose your job, you cannot get a carer work. It's not possible. You need to get similar profession, similar job. That is one big disadvantage, I think. But at the same time, like it's the visa you're on. So some people can, like, if you come in and you don't like the job, you're not feeling the job, and if you want to change, you want to have like a change of career entirely, maybe you have to be on another type of visa, or you basically have to change. You cannot be on that 482 visa again. No, that visa is useless already. The good thing about the visa is that I brought into the country, right? When you come into the country, you figure it out. So that's one of my biggest fear. And like, your employer can terminate you. Anything can happen. I've seen people that they've terminated their employment. I've seen people that also got jobs. There are a lot of jobs when you come here. Based on my field, like on the finance part, there are a lot of jobs. They are always looking for people. Like on your LinkedIn, if you just change your status to open to work, you'll see a lot of recruiters reaching out to you and like, oh, do you want this job, do you want that job? There are jobs everywhere. As far as you have the like minimum requirements, you can get the job. That's the truth, you can get the job. So that's one of the biggest disadvantage of this 482 visa, like, trust me. And some people, if you don't get that job within 2 months, the question is, what are you going to do? Most people have to leave the country. It's so sad, but most people have to leave the country. But for the fighters, I've seen people that even after 2 months, they did not get a job. Yeah, the visa is terminated already, but some people did not leave, or they are still here. And some people have to be on another visa, maybe study. They have to start studying and move to work visa, or move to, some people move from 482 visa to, holiday visa. The visitors visa, that's like maybe the 1 year or 3 months. You just have to move to another visa that can just buy you time to get another better visa. So that's why, to avoid all this jumping from one visa to another, the best visa to apply for is permanent resident. And this is the biggest mistake I made. Like, I feel so sad. Like, I was warned. Like, when we came here, they told us that start applying for a permanent resident. Start applying. Go and do your skill assessment, write your English test. I was like, no. My employer got it. My employer will do this. I carried this, my employer in my head. Oh, my employer said he's going to do it after 2 years. Oh, my employer got it. Don't worry. That's the biggest mistake I've ever made. I noticed that most people that we came together, most people have even gotten their PR. Like, immediately they came, they started like applying and all of that. I was just so stubborn. I don't know why. Now I'm beginning to regret why I did not apply, why I did not take it serious immediately I came here. Maybe I was just excited about a new country. I was excited about a lot of things. And we were warned. They told us, they were like, you don't know the job, you don't know where you're coming to, you don't know how the job is, you don't know how. Sometimes listen to people that are here. They have more experience, and that's the issue. Like, I feel so bad. And now just imagine after 1 year, it's not still too late, because after 1 year I already have like 5 points. So if you work in Australia for like 1 year or more, you get like 5 points. So although it has increased my points, but at the same time, like, I still feel like I should have applied earlier. Maybe I should have gotten my permanent resident and changed the job, like, for the issues I was having at work I told you guys about. Maybe I should have just changed my job and look for a job that I love, or something I love doing, that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm stuck with my company for now, and the truth is I enjoy my job. It's just that there are some people that you work with and you don't feel comfortable with them, and it just make you like hate your job. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that the best visa you can ever apply for is permanent resident. There is nothing as sweet as coming as a permanent resident. You're not tied to any employer. You're not tied to nothing is tying your leg. You are free as a bird. The only thing is that if you get a PR for regional area, you get to stay and live in the regional area, which I feel it's okay. When you get there, you mix with people, you start your life, and that's it. You understand? So guys, those are the advantages and disadvantages of 482 visa. If you've learned something today, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to my channel. I will always give you guys premium content based on my experience and my research, and I'm gonna see you guys in my next video as usual. Bye.